آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل يا رب العالمين. Alhamdulillah, we are on the chapter of Al-Hayd, or the chapter of menstruation, and we completed the section where the author spoke about the 10 things which are haram upon a woman that has her menstruation or hayd. And then we spoke about what are the wajibat, or what are the things that are wajib upon this. And we said there are 3 things. She needs to do ghusl. Number 1 is a ghusl. Number 2 is puberty. So she's accountable for everything now. She's considered an adult in Islam. And number 3, we said that it is wajib, or the musannif, the author, said it is wajib for her to count by the waiting period when going through a divorce. So her iddah will be by the hayd, or by her period, and not counted by the months. We also mentioned what things when we also mentioned last class when she can resume her normal life, or the way that she was before her hayd. And we mentioned that when the blood stops, fasting and divorce becomes permissible. However, she needs to take a ghusl before she is able to pray and to do the other acts which are not permitted during the hayd. So the other acts that we talked about, those 10 things, only fasting and divorce are permissible for her after the stoppage of the blood. She needs to make ghusl before she resumes the other 8 things that were mentioned. Today we'll talk about the duration, the beginning and the ending of the menstruation. وقال المصنف رحمه الله, the author, may Allah have mercy upon him, says, وأقل حيض يوم وليلة وأكثره 15 يوما. He says, and the least amount of duration in the menstruation is 1 day and 1 night. يوم وليلة وأكثره 15 يوما. And the longest duration is 15 days. Now he says here the least amount is 1 day and 1 night. And according to some of the scholars, they've mentioned that the least amount is, it can be less than 1 day and 1 night. It is 1 gushing of blood. Now when we go back to the evidence for this, when he says 1 day and 1 night, the reason why he says that is because this is the norm amongst most of the women. It would happen for 1 day or 1 night. That is the least amount which is known at that time. However, the majority of the scholars, or some of the scholars, have mentioned that if the blood comes, even if it's less than 1 day and 1 night, if it is, for example, 1 gush of blood, and it has the same sifat, the same description, the same qualities as a normal period, a normal menstruation, then that will be counted as hayd, and that is considered a hayd, even if it is less than 1 day and 1 night. وَأَكْثَرُهُ 15 يَوْمًا, and the longest of it is 15 days, and the majority of the scholars have mentioned the longest of it is 15 days, and this is because normally a woman will not bleed longer than 15 days. And when we say the longest is 15 days, that means that after 15 days, it is not considered hayd. Meaning that if she's bleeding for 15 days or more, if she's bleeding for more than 15 days, for example, 16, 17, or 20 days, for example, then at 15 days, at number 15, she would take ghusl and she would start praying as normal, and the other extra days after 15 would be considered istihada, or irregular bleeding. And istihada is bleeding, but a woman is continuing all of the acts that she does as if she does not have the hayd. It is considered bleeding like a regular wound. However, she must not do the things that, or she must continue praying, and she must continue all the things that she was doing before her period. وأقل طهر بين الحيضتين 13 يوما. And the least or the shortest interval between two menstrual periods is 15 days. Meaning that when she becomes pure and the time when her next period starts, the least amount is 15 days, is 13 days. If it is less than 13 days, then those days which are in the 13 days will be considered istihada once again. And there is no limit, وَلَا حَدَّ لِأَكْثَرِهِ, and there is no limit for the longest. So if she is pure and clean and dry for over 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, then that is fine. She would not be considered. There is no limit for the days that she can be pure in between the two menstrual periods. وأقل سن تحيض له المرأة 9 سنين وأكثره 60. And the youngest age that a woman can menstruate is 9 years old, and the oldest is 60 years. 60 years. Sittun. So the Musannif rahimahullah, he says that the youngest age that a woman can have her menstrual period is 9 years old. However, some of the scholars have mentioned, even if she is less than 9 years, as long as there is a gush of blood and the description or the qualities of that blood match the qualities of a normal period or menstruation, then it would be considered menstruation. She would not do the things that a woman does not do during her menstruation, meaning she would avoid salah and she would avoid fasting. And he says, and the longest is 60 years. And here the reason is, some of the scholars have mentioned that the longest is 50 years. Some of them have mentioned there is no limit. The reason why the scholar has, Ibn Qudamah has mentioned 60 years here is because this is the norm. This is what was considered normal for them, that a woman does not have her period after 60 years in a normal situation. However, some of the scholars say that there is no limit, and that seems closer to the correct opinion, meaning that if she does have it after 60 years, then it would be considered a normal period, and she would avoid the things that someone does on a normal period. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.